Talks about life. Scene. Dawn. Take 2.
You had moved out
To Los Angeles.
to Los Angeles from
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
You lived with your roommate.
Mm-hmm.
And so you mentioned earlier, like, you moved out to LA and then you started making money. So, like,
Yeah.
it was a fairly quick transition into, like, actually...
It was actually kind of amazing. Well, I'll say that I finally ponied up for quality headshots right before I moved, and so there was actually, I had a little bit of an ordeal. I couldn't get them. The printing press was down. I couldn't get back then they were called Z cards or comp cards. I couldn't get them because somebody's printing press had broke.
Were they still black and white?
No, these were color. We were moving into
I remember,
color.
like, back in the day, headshots were classically black and white.
Never
and
had
I was like, why?
black and white headshot. I totally had a black and white headshot. Yeah, that was, I think this was 2006. I think that was the transition, or 2005, and there was like, color's in, and we were like, color? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Nobody wants to see your face in color. So
What, is television in color as well?
Oh my God.
Is movies going to color?
This is ridiculous. I suppose I could pick up this device and talk to someone on the other side of the world. So I got those, and then I got a really good agent. And the crazy thing was, I was about 26, 27 at the time, and I specifically remember everybody that I knew in Texas getting married, and I kept having to go back for weddings. And I would book things right when I was supposed to go back, and one time my agent actually called me, and a stream of profanity came out of her mouth because I was planning to go back when I booked something, and I was like, okay, I'll get back in time. But I started to book print and then do a lot of non-union commercials at that time, and that was really cool. And then the writers' strike hit, and I had a little lull, but then it picked back up until 2008.
How did you get your SAG card?
There was a series of commercials for Long John Silver's, and what would happen is they would be eating these bland meals, and this wave of water would wash over them. All of a sudden, they're happy with Long John Silver's. How they did that was they had a machine that would pour 200 gallons of ice cold water on you, and we did that probably 10 times. To get the right reaction afterwards. But they Taft-Hartley'd me for that commercial. And then when I played Neil Armstrong in Transformers, and when I booked that role, I had to join SAG. So at that point, I joined.
So you were already SAG eligible.
Yeah.
Just in case there's anyone watching that doesn't know what we're talking about, SAG is the Screen Actors Guild. You have to be a member of the union for any major role. And so that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Did you get the role as Neil Armstrong before the Budweiser commercials?
I did. That was in 2009, and the movie came out in 2010. Yeah. And so I was actually, I was SAG quite a bit before those, because that was 2013, obviously the start of those.
2013 was the first Budweiser commercial. What were the auditions or the audition processes like for both of those?
For the
like
Budweiser?
for Neil Armstrong.
Oh, for Neil Armstrong. That was I had just joined Ivana Chubbuck, and so I just read her book, The Power of the Actor, and I was pretty into the process. And they didn't say that it was for Transformers. They just said astronaut. You're gonna be Neil Armstrong. So I looked up pictures of Neil Armstrong, and I did my hair slicked as much as I could, like him, like he was in a suit, because they couldn't imagine. They didn't say on space, but basically we went into an office right there at the studios on Sunset that are just like 81 studios. They're not associated. And she calls us in. She says, okay, so the scenario is you see a giant alien face on the floor, and then you look up and you say, I can't believe it, or something like that. And so I was like, okay. And you're in space. I'm in space. Okay, and I do it one time, and she goes, yeah, Mike's not gonna like that version, so do it different. And I was like, who the hell is Mike? She's talking about Michael Bay. And I didn't know it until finally I booked the thing, and then I'm just like, I was incredibly ecstatic.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I remember sitting in, I know most people might not be a big fan of Transformers 2, but I was sitting in 2 with my girlfriend, and I thought, this is so amazing. All of this action and these real life Transformers, it's just, that would be the top of the world for me. And I got the audition not too long after that and booked it, and it was just crazy. It's really neat. And on set, we didn't get lines, and so I was like, how am I supposed to prepare for this? So I go to like the Museum of Science, and I go, you know, and I'm just doing whatever I can. I'm like, okay, they told me that I have to wear like a 50-pound suit, so be ready for that and be hot. So I'm working out, trying to make sure I can do all that. And then, we get to set, and there's no lines. And I'm like, shouldn't we have a script or something? We never got a script. But we get to set, and we're in costume, and we're on set, and we're starting the action, and Michael Bay just goes, say this. Okay. Say this. And so we're just saying this, and at one point he tells me, if this line makes the trailer, I'll give you $100. I'm like, okay. And so I say it, and obviously it didn't make the trailer, but it was in the movie, and I'll take that. And I thought that was pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Was it you in the suit, like throughout? Because like at first, when you're first getting out of the spaceship and stuff,
we had a stunt double for the bounce. What they were on a track with pulleys and then bungee on that, so that's how you got the effect of them hopping over land. I actually was told that my stunt double puked the first day. I'm not sure if he went out the night before. It was so hot, but yeah, puked in the suit.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a memory for you.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a few years to the Budweiser commercials. Did you know when you auditioned for the first one that it was going to be a series?
No, that's another thing. Little known fact, right now, the Voiceovers Guild, I have a roommate who is big in voiceover, and they're trying to get them to put the actual name of the project on auditions so that they can know how much to charge, because they're not putting the names on so that they can cast it at a certain rate, and then it's like, oh, you booked the next Call of Duty, congratulations. So they just said, Budweiser commercial, if you want to do it, come on in. And my first one was like, okay, visualize there's a horse, the horse runs to you, you like the horse, so I do that in the room. What I actually visualized, my dad had this old horse named Doc. I was like, wow, if Doc was still alive and he was like all of a sudden there, that would be really cool. And then the callback was with Jake Scott, who is Ridley Scott's son. Which I didn't know this at the time. There's just an English dude in the stall. He's like, all right, Don, just grab the horse and just, can you walk him back down and up here? I was like, okay, yeah. Apparently, I'm the only person who stayed on the left side, which is what you're supposed to do with horses. But that was really neat. And I didn't even know then that it was a Budweiser, like a Super Bowl commercial. I'm on set the third day, and we're shooting, and this is about the time that you see me next to the trailer, and we're loading up the horse. And one of the Budweiser, and I knew something was up because there was a lot of people from Budweiser there. There was like 6 or 7. There's never that many actual people from the company. There's a PR company, and then there's people from set, and there's like maybe 1 or 2 from the advertising of the actual company, but there was like 7. And that was something that's kind of crazy. And one of them walks up to me and goes, "This is going to be one of the best Super Bowl commercials you've ever seen." And I just go, "Oh man, you can't tell me that right in the middle of a scene. I can't hear that right now." and
you are messing up my mojo.
Wait a second, what? The Super Bowl commercial? And so then I'm telling a lot of people that I've got a Super Bowl commercial, and the day of, I'm like, what if they don't air it? That would really suck. Because they put it up online, it got all these views and all these hits, and I'm like, son of a gun, they're just going to air it online and not put it on TV. And it was right before Beyonce turned the lights out, and I was like, oh no, not by halftime, it's not going up. And then they finally did it up, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then for the second one, or the consecutive ones, like when did you find out that they were making more and bringing you back for them?
I tell you what, they didn't notify me too far in advance. I have a good friend who's AD on set, and he contacted me through Facebook. He's like, hey, get ready, because you're going to get another one. And I said, really? I said, yeah. And at that point, about a month later, and this was until January, maybe December. We shot the second one in December. This was like late November, December, so this is only a month, like 2 months out. Okay, we're going to shoot the next one, and we go in December and shoot it. But for the audition, they just had me do rapport reads with girls. I was like, yeah, all right.